It's a term that's been thrown around over the last few years, and in the housing market, it refers to the aging baby boomers and the 9 million homes they are sitting on that could potentially flood the market. But if we go beyond the headlines, the big question is what will actually happen when the largest generation in history is no longer around? Boomers are sitting on an estimated 9 million homes. And right now there's a power struggle between the millennials and the boomers because of the lack of inventory. And as this inventory gets released in the market, it's going to be a welcome relief to those struggling home buyers. The big question is that going to be enough? Is the boomer inventory enough to bring balance back to the market? In this video, I wanted to look at the current state of the market, what it looks like as the boomers age and what the experts are predicting, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think will happen and what the future may look like. But first, I want to dig into who are the baby boomers. The boomers were born between 1946 and 1964, and they consist of 22% of the US population. That's 73 million people. They were considered the largest generation until the millennials came around. The millennials surpassed the boomers with a whopping 75 million at 23% of the US population. Now, I want you to make a quick note of that. That's super important. I'm going to touch on it a little bit later. Now, the boomers were named for the population growth that happened after World War II. They grew up in a world where working hard resulted in quality salaries and affordable housing. And during their peak buying years was where we saw the explosion of the modern suburbia and the demand for single-family homes. And because of that, homeownership is a key driver of financial wealth within that generation. Many boomers are relying solely on the equity in their home as their financial security. And because of that financial security, they're staying in place, which is negatively affecting the market because we don't have the inventory we need to bring balance to the market. So what is the current state of the market? Before we understand where we're at now, I want to go back to the great financial crisis of 2008 because that was a major catalyst in the housing market. When the market crashed, home builders stopped building, and we lost and fell behind about 4 million homes. As new home buyers come on the market every day, in order to supplement that inventory, new homes need to be built. And in 2015, 2016, the millennials came on the scene. And with the millennial size of almost 75 million home buyers, the need for new housing was tremendous. So we were already in a hole in 2008 with losing 4 million homes. The millennials came on the market 2015, and they're scooping up as many homes come on the market, and the inventory dropped even more to 2019. In 2019, pre-pandemic, we were in a heavy seller's market. Inventory was significantly below where it should be to have a balanced market. And then the pandemic hit, and we had the perfect storm.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus.
Coronavirus.
We had interest rates at an all-time low, historically low levels. We had money being injected into households, and we had trends changing. People were fleeing from very densely populated areas. They were getting out of the city. They wanted to relocate closer to family. They wanted to relocate into suburbia to get away, have more space in between them and their neighbors. The needs of the home buyer changed, and that drove prices through the roof. So we have a deficit coming out of the financial crisis, plus the millennials coming on the scene who are buying up properties, and then you have the baby boomers. And the baby boomers were the ones that were supposed to give to the market those 9 million homes that would help satisfy the demand of the great financial crisis and these millennials. But that's not happening. Baby boomers are aging in place. They took advantage of the low rates. Those with a mortgage, many of those baby boomers don't even have a mortgage. They own their home free and clear, but those with a mortgage have extraordinarily low rates, making staying in their home way more affordable. So now we have this tug of war between the millennials and the boomers. The millennials are looking for housing. There's already a housing shortage, and they need that new housing inventory to come on the market. The boomers were supposedly going to supply that inventory, but they're aging in place. They're staying put. And not only are they staying put, but they're buying more property. They're buying second homes, vacation homes, rental property. So they're taking out more of the inventory without contributing their home to the inventory. And this has led to some pretty unstable market conditions. Now, depending on where you are in the country, your local market conditions could vary widely. And if you are thinking about possibly putting your house on the market, it's super important to get the correct data, to know exactly what's happening in your market so that you can prep your house according to what's happening locally and make sure you price it correctly. Now, if you are working with an agent that you know and you trust, fantastic. But if you need a recommendation, if you need a strong referral for a local agent, I am connected to thousands of the top agents across the country. I have been in the real estate industry for over 28 years, and I have built relationships with the top agents. And I'm happy to connect you with one of those agents that will take great care of you and give you the information that you need to properly prepare your house for sale. But at the end of the day, the boomers won't be around forever. So what does that transition look like? Well, many of these boomers are in their 60s and 70s. They're entering retirement in record numbers. And what a lot of experts are predicting is as boomers age, and it's a slow process, they're not all going to come on the market at once, but as the boomers slowly age and either retire or pass away, a lot of that financial wealth, that generational wealth, will either be gifted, inherited to another heir, or become inventory on the market. Now, a lot of these boomers, as they age, will be downsizing from their family home, but they're not selling their family home and going into a retirement community. They're selling their family home and going into a smaller home, which creates another dilemma because of the incoming Gen Z. And the incoming Gen Zs have actually the highest home ownership rates out of all the previous generations. But the Gen Zs might get a little help from the boomers, and that's due to a few economic factors. Now, as the boomers pass away, we are going to see the largest transfer of generational wealth in history. It is estimated to be in the trillions of dollars. And as that wealth is passed to their heirs, what it will do is it will give the millennials and the Gen Zs purchasing power. That purchasing power will alter the course of the housing market. Now, interest rates will always play a role in that process, but that influx of wealth, homes, assets, cash, is going to enable the millennials and the Gen Zs to be competitive and get themselves into home ownership. Now, this whole situation has challenges and opportunities. Now, with an estimated 9 million homes coming on the market from the baby boomers, the biggest question is will it crash the market, or at least will it correct the market? And according to the experts, this is going to be a very slow, gradual process. The silver tsunami that gets tossed around in the media is actually going to be a gradual shift. It's going to be something that will be over the next 10, 15, 20 years as those younger boomers age, that will slowly infuse properties into the market. The bigger question, though, is it enough to satisfy the millennial demand? Now, if you remember, I mentioned there are 73 million baby boomers, but there are 75 million millennials that are home buying age. They're coming on the market. Even if all of those homes come on the market, the 9 million homes, even if they come on the market faster than what the experts are predicting, it still isn't going to be enough to satisfy the demand. Because not only do we have those 75 million millennials, but we've got the Gen Zs right behind them. And the only answer to that is to create new housing, not just rely on the boomers leaving their properties behind. We need to build new housing, specifically affordable housing, because that's going to be, at the end of the day, the biggest issue for this foreseeable future. Affordability is at a crisis mode right now, and the only way to get out of that is to build more affordable housing. Now, some of these boomers will have entry-level housing that they're going to introduce in the market, and what we will see are trends shifting. A lot of these homes will need to be updated for sustainability. They'll need to be updated for the latest tech trends as the new buyers are coming into the market. So I'm anticipating over the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to see a lot of innovation in the housing market coming out of this baby boomer generation. It's been kind of status quo over the last 50 years. The way homes are built, how they're built, some trends have changed, but I really think that the millennials are going to come in, the Gen Zs are going to come in and make some major shifts in the housing industry in terms of new innovation to address this affordability issue. There's a lot of stuff happening in the housing market that we haven't even scratched the surface on. 3D printing is something that I've been watching for a while that hasn't taken hold yet, but has huge potential. Modular homes is something that is talked about and put in the same category as a mobile home, when in fact, modular homes are just traditional stick-built homes that are built off-site. And to build a home off-site, especially if you live in a climate-sensitive area of the country, and then bringing those homes on-site, it is a reduction in labor. It's a climate-controlled build so that you can have a better, more sustainable home. And at the end of the day, you can make that home less expensive. Right now, modular homes are less expensive than regular on-site stick-built homes. And that would be something that I'd like to see grow, and I think we will see more of that industry grow as time progresses, as policies have changed to allow more of these homes to be built in local communities. At the end of the day, the baby boomers are not going to crash the market, and they're not going to save the market. But one thing's for sure, it is going to be a very wild ride. And certain markets will absolutely struggle more than others in the next 2, 3, 5 years. Now, I did a video recently on that. If you want more information, you can check it out here. I'm Jen Sylvester, and I'm here to help you become a savvy home seller.